Hello, welcome to this video on the IBM DB2 SQL Performance Analyzer for z/OS, also known as SQLPA. This video will cover details within the Query Limits Report. The SQLPA Query Limits Report is the first report that informs you about the cost of your queries in a package, DBRM, sequential or partition dataset, and the other SQL statement analysis options after selecting option 1 from the main control panel. I'll be discussing the line commands and report information which can be obtained from the Query Limits Report. In the upper right, the DB2 System ID is displayed. Below that is the DB2 User ID, which is used to customize SQLPA. This ID owns the SQLPA objects that are created for the customization and must have sysadmin authority. You can change the DB2 SQL authorization ID using menu options 3.2. Following the SQL ID is the time the Query Limits Report was generated. You can enter the PR command to print one of the listed reports. Working our way down in the report, you will see line commands. The cost report provides a summary of query costs, plus any warning messages. The explain report is the most utilized report since it reports the activities by query number, query block, plan number, and multiple index operation sequence numbers, as they are represented in the plan table. The query block report displays query block information for this statement. You also find the subqueries or nested queries within the statements. There are additional line commands available. There are additional line commands that are available if you select the query block report. The line commands of I, T, and A, depending on the level of detail that you are interested in. The plan table report helps the DB2 application designer and programmer understand the access path that was selected by DB2 for a given SQL statement. This report contains a lot of detailed information. Its primary purpose is to combine information that is returned by the SQL explain statement and information that is extracted from the DB2 system catalog. If you have a lot of statements within your package, you may want to change the user parameter level to summary to display one line for each statement. The SQL report contains a summary of all the SQL statements, tables, and indexes. For the trace report, SQLPA shows its predictions in the typical DB2 terms, such as forecast numbers for get pages, synchronous reads, sequential and list prefetches, and the CPU time users might anticipate in the DB2 SMF records. All the SQLPA installation parameters are at the top of this report. Each row in the query limit report represents an SQL statement that has been processed and provides a one-line cost synopsis for each query evaluated and including warning flags. The default sort order of the SQL statements is by queue units. However, you can change this by entering the sort command, followed by a column number and an A or a D for ascending or descending. To sort the report by elapsed time in descending order, enter the command sort 6D. Some users may want to fine-tune their queries based on the cost, while others might prefer the single queue units value, which sums up the total cost for each query, or utilize the times. None are incorrect, the choice is up to you. The column named CEIQ$ will contain a Y if one of the cost estimate columns exceed the SQLPA warning message enablement parameters. The error column currently is displaying zeros, noting that there are no error codes for the SQL. Otherwise, this code corresponds to typical SQLPA message format, ANL XXXX, where the XXXX is the 4-digit return code. The query number is extracted from the package or assigned by SQLPA during processing to cross-reference the query in the SQLPA summary cost, explain, and detailed trace report. The statement type will contain the SQL statement type, whether it's select, insert, update, delete, select for update of, and the others that you see listed here. The CPU time is a calculated value and reported in seconds. It is based upon path lengths. The path lengths are derived from the many interval processes of DB2. The elapsed time is the estimate for how long the query runs before returning data. It is a computed value for insert, update, and delete statements based on CPU processing, the number of I/O requests, and other time increments that apply to processing the SQL. The physical I/O is a cost estimate for the query after applying the buffer hit ratio. The physical I/O requirements can vary depending on which pages are found in the buffer pool and which must be physically read in from disk. You can control the percentage of pages found in the buffer pool using the buffhit parameter. QUnit is based upon CPU processing and the CPU time associated with all I/O processing. The higher the QUnit's value, the more processing is required. The lower the value means a quicker query and less resource consumption. The cost column is used to put a price on CPU time in hours and I/O counts charged per 1,000. If the parameters are defined, your DB2 SQL Performance Analyzer cost estimate includes a monetary value. DB2 SQL PA can compute the financial cost of a query based on the resources consumed and the assigned cost of those resources. A cost estimate for each query in the national currency can quickly build chargeback cost awareness. For additional information on SQL PA, please contact your IBM z/OS specialist or Rocket Software Solution Advisor. You can also view additional videos which target use cases, what-if scenarios, access paths comparison, and the integration with other DB2 products. Thank you for watching.